Invictus, my kings, and welcome back to another part of the Napoleon Total War DarthMod Italian state playthrough. Yes, that's it, Italian state playthrough. And today we find ourselves within striking distance of the heart of the enemy empire, Paris. Yes, and I think it's just right that we initiate battle. We will bring all of our armies to bear. The Grand Armada that's... Trade route rated. That's not exactly what I had in mind, but okay. And we could auto-resolve this, and I think I probably will. Why not? Let's just auto-resolve. Let's do a cheeky auto-resolve. And the enemy will, unfortunately, be very rowdy. Very rowdy, these units that we inherited over here. But it doesn't matter. We have captured an artillery foundry and some barracks, so that will do us great benefit. Let's see if actually, for the time being, we could establish peace with the French, so that we have. We can't establish peace. Okay, never mind. But if we manage to get a peace treaty, I would slowly but surely develop the holdings that we have here in France, and then move on in like 10 turns and recapture everything that every other province that we have in reach. But I think what we really are looking for in France is Brittany, Normandy, the Netherlands, and Alsace-Lorraine, as well as then Switzerland, the entirety of Spain, the Croatia, Vienna, Hungary, Istanbul, Bucharest, I think, and possibly Transylvania as well, because that's basically the province of Dacia that the Romans held. But I think that's essentially what we're looking for when it comes to our borders. And then obviously London and Wales, because Scotland isn't something that the Romans ever held, but I think that's essentially what we are looking for, as well as obviously the Balearic Islands and Portugal. So those are the provinces that we have to capture within this playthrough. The rest doesn't really matter. I suppose maybe no, Cleves isn't because the Rhineland goes like this. So this is Alsace-Lorraine and maybe Holland as well, but we are at war with the Batavian Republic anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And our finances are looking actually pretty decent. I don't really know what the crash last turn or the turn before that was about, but it seems like it's fixed itself, which is relatively fine, because I was getting a little worried, like what the hell is going on, right? What the hell is going on? Why are we so deep in the red? But I just don't understand the way Napoleon works sometimes. It's a little finicky, and I'm not entirely sure what's going on half the time. But that's the magic of the game. You don't know what's going on, but it's fine anyway. Now with Venice, it's actually something that I've been thinking about. Do we capture Venice and hold it for ourselves? Because the French could pop in and destroy the Austrians at any moment, but I think they have such a huge army right in here, the Austrians do, that we'll just keep them as a flank security and slowly build up an army over here. Very slowly build up an army over here, and then eventually, once we take over what we want from the French, then we'll go against the Austrians as well, and I think that would be just swell. That's basically what we're looking for over here. But anyway, let's enter and let's see what happens. I'm not entirely sure what the... Oh, here we go. Here we go. The French are making another attack. Another attack against Belgrade, eh? This is... Looks like I was right to capture Belgrade and turn it into a little bit of a fortified front line, but let's fight this one out again. Alright, here we go. We are on the defensive this time, purely on the defensive. The enemy didn't decide just to hang around and wait for I don't know what. But here we are on the defensive. Let's get some trenches going, and let's get the cavalry to bear on the flanks, and the general in the middle. Still no artillery, man. I just can't get around to recruiting any artillery. It's just it's so expensive to build up those artillery buildings and then to try and actually maintain any sort of artillery presence in the armies if we're constantly on the attack, constantly having to move forward, constantly having to shift directions of where the enemy's coming from, where we think we're gonna need the most troops. It's a little bit of a hassle actually, but you can see this is gonna be a fine defensive battle. The enemy fusiliers of the line, some of the best line infantry in the game, obviously held by the French. Okay, they're targeting our general. Let's get him behind some buildings just so we don't lose our general. This guy's relatively high when it comes to the rank, so let's not waste him completely. And they have some massive artillery forces in here. Let's see what they have. 6-pounder, 6-pounder, 6-pounder. So it's all just 6-pounders again. Nothing out of the ordinary, I guess. But we should probably win this battle. They're going for a little bit of an envelopment over here, so let's counter that. And maybe we should post up in the building, but I don't think so, because that would just make it a massive target for the enemy artillery line, and we don't want that. We definitely don't want that. Enemy artillery is all powerful, obviously. We don't want to give them any sort of ideas. But since we're behind the trenches, I think we should have a pretty decent advantage over here in this firefight against the enemy fusiliers of the line. Even though they have, I think they are the superior line infantry compared to our line infantry. I still think we should hold the advantage, because let's see where they're going. Let's start forming squares. And yeah, I think they went for that unit, so it's a good thing we formed that square. But maybe they will actually go for the building. In that case, we're just gonna have a massive melee fight about it. But let's see, that's their general. This is the massive melee that we... Okay, looks like the square actually dissolved, which sometimes happens. Are they going inside the building? I don't really see them going inside the building, but they are Swiss line infantry. But they are posting, so let's go for a little bit of a hammer and anvil strike. Okay, so the cavalry routed. Let's reform the line. Never mind, the troops are routing again. It's just Napoleon Total War. The routes are sometimes all over the place. Your units could have lost not even half their army, but they sometimes just route randomly. It is what it is. It's Napoleon Total War. You can't do much about it. But let's actually send a general over here then, if this is such a problematic flank. And let's actually just go into a full-blown melee. They should be a little bit better at melee than we are, but since we have cavalry support on both of our flanks, and we are... Oh. Alright, so it looks like the game crashed. Never mind, let's do that again. Let's do that again. This time, let's not give them the opportunity to actually capture that building if they so want to. Let's just set up in front like that. Let's cavalry on the flanks. Let's actually make sure that building isn't occupiable just in case they decide to go for it this time. And I should really turn off the battle advisors, but it's on low, so why the hell does he keep bothering me? I don't know. Empire Total War, same issue with Empire. It just keeps happening for some reason. It's just this sort of era of Total War was a little bit of a mess, and looks like the enemy cavalry is going in for a little bit of a cheeky charge this time. Let's see where they're going. Why can't these guys form a square? I don't know. But it looks like I made it just in time. And here it looks like the enemy's going for a little bit of an envelopment. So let's activate the cavalry over here. Let's activate the cavalry over here, just to be sure. And are they going for a melee? Doesn't look like it, but just in case, we should try and go for envelopment ourselves. They have some militia in their armies for some reason, which is a little bit of a strange one. You don't really see militia all that often in... Well, you don't really see people using militia in this game because it's just so much inferior compared to regular infantry. And... Alright, here we go. This is a cheval. And do we think we could beat them? Well, it doesn't matter if we think we could beat them because they're charging head on anyway. And so infantry, how are we doing on this flank? Very well, very well. At least relatively well. These guys firing? Yes, they are. Okay. And it looks like they have left their artillery in the back. This time not using them at all, which is interesting. Let's go for a cheeky charge over there. Let's bring the general into the middle so we have some sort of cover. And let's get rid of their artillery just in case they decide to use it at all. And it looks like the enemy went for a massive charge into the middle line, which is an interesting strategy to be sure. Let's see if it works. Let's see if it works out for them. I don't know. Seems a little too bold, but well, just in case it works, let's encourage our troops and let's make the enemy rout. Looks like this is going to be a standard envelopment type of battle. The chess is a cheval, just a random charge into our lines over there. But you can see the strategy of actually trying to hold the Balkans and have a defensive line over there is very... The militia actually can do fire by rank in this game. Well, with DarthMod anyway. There is no fire by rank in Napoleon Total War Vanilla, obviously. For some reason, which is something I never understood. Like, surely fire by rank was something that was used well into the Napoleonic age. Why would they have it in Empire Total War and then get rid of it in Napoleon Total War? Is something which I never understood. But hey, it was their game, so they made it the way they wanted to, and they decided that they didn't want any sort of fire by rank, which is very strange. But anyway, it is what it is, isn't it? Okay, let's finally get rid of these artillery troops. Looks like this battle is going a little bit better than the last try we had at this battle. These guys should be routing. Yes, let's get rid of them. Managed to rout this militia over here. It's gonna be a fine ass envelopment right down the middle. Right down the middle. This massive infantry charge today. Well, we are facing off against Marshal Ney, so Marshal Ney, who I guess likes cavalry charges. Indeed, he does. Where's the general? The general's right over here, so let's try and get rid of Marshal Ney so we don't have to face him ever again. Since he's a very high ranking general for the French, it would be very nice to get rid of him. I don't think he's an immortal general. I think only Napoleon and the historically significant generals are really immortal. So let's actually try and get rid of Marshal Ney over here. If we manage to nick him and kill him, that would be the best. But let's actually go for a bit of an infantry attack against him as well. And let's actually try and kill him. Let's not just... there we go. Michael Ney is done. There we go. Very, very good. Very good. Managed to kill him. So no more. Don't have to worry about him trying to annoy me on the Balkan front ever again. Here we go, these guys, Fusiliers of line, but we can see that the enemy went for a massive attack in the middle, thinking it's Medieval 2 Total War, or Rome Total War, but it didn't quite work out for them. So, very nice. We actually made use of our general abilities this time, which is not something that you get to use every day. Because the generals are so fragile and so important in this game that you tend to, at least I tend to keep them in the back, not necessarily do anything with them. Because I'm sort of just scared that they're gonna get murked by a random bullet for no apparent reason. But this time we actually managed to use him to some good, and once more we hold on to Belgrade. This is the second attack by the French. We are completely crushing their armies, and I think if I see everything correct, yep, it's a victory. Nice. Okay, so we lost about 1,600 and we killed 3,500. Very nice. There we go. Death animation of Marshal Ney. He's gone. The whole army got wiped. Nice. We just wiped out an entire force of the French. Very cool. Very cool indeed. So it looks like France itself is gonna have to be, yeah, workers on strike here. France. Let's see, if we exempt them from taxation, it doesn't help, but the money that we get from the tax is actually quite good, so let's not do that. Let's not do that. This battered army could actually start dancing around and capturing these other settlements. Let's, yeah, there we go, peacefully occupied, just so we have some sort of use for them and they can actually replenish while in a settlement. That should be good. And these two big F-off armies can keep any sort of rebellion within France at bay. Maybe I could actually send this army to capture Picardy, but I'm sort of scared of splitting them apart like that, because then you never know when a big full stack French army is going. There we go. There's Napoleon. There's Napoleon sitting right outside of Tyrol, so we're definitely gonna have to reinforce that settlement somehow. But I already have a little bit of a reinforcement stack over here just in case they decide to come on. But I'm gonna actually build a small fort, small star fort in Tyrol. But I think, let's see, if we use the agent, would he be able to assassinate Napoleon? Just assassination successful. Very nice, very nice, very nice. So that we aren't facing a massively overpowered general within the enemy line. And it's all just 6-pounders. It's all literally just 6-pounders. However, some of them are horse artillery, some of them are foot artillery. But okay, so there we go. Very experienced troops, as you can see. This 6-pounder they've probably had from the beginning of the game. And we assassinated Napoleon. He's obviously gonna come back. Batavian Republic destroyed by whom? By the Prussians. Okay, so the Prussians they should be at war with the French. Yes, they are at war with the French. And the French, at this point, they've actually, since they've lost a majority of their holdings in France, they sort of have an awkward position where they don't necessarily have a good industrial base from which they could actually wage the war. They've sort of been, subsumed completely the Austrian Empire. And they still have some German holdings, but the French Empire very much on the decline. As you can see, they're flanked from all the sides. Hopefully the Prussians can do some nice damage against them. We'll see how things go, but this is looking very nice. Once we deal with the French, the rest of the campaign is going to be a little bit more of a breeze. But the French are so overpowered in this game that you have to really take these measures into your own hand. And here you can see an army of the French. Hopefully they don't come here from the north, but I don't think they should. Maybe they're going more south. I don't know, but In case they do, let's recruit some infantry, just in case they decide that it would be worth their while to try and annoy us. I think I'm gonna capture Brittany, and then I'm gonna try and sue for peace with the French, because I think we're a little overstretched at this point. Let's first capture Brittany and then try to sue for peace with the French. Alright, here we go. Gonna try and go for Brittany. Auto resolve should win that one. We can liberate Brittany, but let's just keep it. This army, very nice experience on it. So let's let it to rest a little bit, and let's actually request peace from the French. And peace treaty signed. Okay, very nice. So now we are at peace. We aren't actually at war with anyone, and so this is going to be a very good opportunity to just rest a while, replenish, rebuild all of our territories, let the French take a beating from everyone else, or maybe they are gonna beat everyone else a little bit. Let's build that star fort and Tyrol. Probably going to go for Switzerland next, just so we have this front line through the Alps on doubly secured, so that we don't have to worry about anyone just randomly marching down south through the Alps and getting into Italy proper. Hopefully I will be able to save up enough money to buy Istanbul and Bucharest from the Russians. If I am not able to do that, then that's going to be the last track of the campaign. We're probably going to go for these two cities as the final part to really secure the Balkan holdings. Also, Venice is another big thing which I might be able to go for. But next up, I think probably gonna rest a while and replenish troops and do everything like that, and then go to war with the French again, just to capture Normandy, Picardy, and Strasbourg, as well as go to war against Switzerland. Then after that is done, then we'll probably go against the Spanish, and then after we go against the Spanish, we're obviously going to capture all of Spain. That's going to be the next part of the expansion, and then we worry about the Balkans. The Balkans I think are going to be the last piece of the puzzle to this campaign, because well, it's not some of the richest territory, to be sure. It's a little bit on the weaker side when it comes to the economy. Istanbul or Constantinople is going to be a very, why is it called Istanbul, by the way? It was still called Constantinople in this period, but anyway, Constantinople is going to be a very lucrative city to hold, and however, that's for the end of the campaign. Don't want to face the Russians just yet, because that means going toward the entirety of the coalition, and I think I would like to limit our front lines for the moment, so we only have one direction to worry about, and we don't have to worry about getting ganked from all sides. Because while we would be probably able to win, it would be extremely protracted, and it's better to I think, at least in my experience, it's better to go for this sort of a bite and hold strategy in this game, because you don't want there to be massive, massive territorial expansion, negative bonuses or whatever to your diplomacy. You generally want there to be at least a little bit of a resting period, or whatever you want to call it, between your expansions, so that there is at least some period of time where the negative bonus, or whatever you want to call it, the negative penalty for territory expansion, so there's a little bit of time for it to cool down. As you can see, it does tick down over time, but you really got to be careful about expanding too much too quickly, And so I think for the next couple of turns, I'm just gonna sit around, wait, not necessarily attack anyone, just build up the economy again, because getting all these armies and going all these offensives and repairing all these buildings really took a toll on our finances. As you saw, I went bankrupt because I was trading with the French, and then I wasn't trading with the French. So gotta repair everything, gotta reconsolidate everything, and then we'll see how things develop. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.